This little box jumps up on your screen. You have to click the word "got it," and that'll clear it out of the way. And then we shall go. Morning, Gail. I'm going to mute everybody here. Okay. So again, the setup, you want to have 2 chairs, backs of chairs facing in, a third chair back from that little setup, so there's some room out in front of you. And the value of sitting meditation here for this balance class, there's many reasons why seated meditation is valuable to us, but for the functioning work, for work on functioning better in standing, balance, and gait, we want to focus on this idea first of central upright, what they call in the Tai Chi world, Zhongjang, means central pillar, central upright. And so if I'm slouched back with my head like this, my central upright is not great. It's not intact. So we initially have to do something. We have to tilt the pelvis so that we're a little bit on the front of the sits bones. A lot of times, this is the shape that the head and neck gets into, the chin out and the sort of closed off back of the neck. So we need to bring the chin slightly down. Now, that doesn't mean I'm putting my head like this. So a lot of times when I say bring the chin down, people drop their head in front. And again, we're losing our central upright. So it's this pelvis getting correctly lined here, and then this chin coming down a little bit so you feel the back of your neck, base of your skull area open. So that combination aligns the tip-top crown of your head and the floor of your pelvis, the perineum, and we get our Zhongjang, or central upright. Take a few moments there, just attending to that, finding that, calibrating and orienting around this central upright. And then a very important concept in the Taoist, Tai Chi, Qigong, Chinese medicine way of looking at the human body is we want to not do what we commonly do, which is think about getting balance from holding ourselves up. Instead, we want to create the central line and then relax everything else, release it, let go of it. And what you end up getting from that is, instead of this tight held body that actually makes us more likely to fall over because we're holding weight, we're releasing that grip and we're softening out. And so what happens is we sort of settle the body weight down underneath and we feel grounded. And then the body above is loose and adaptable and movable. So we want this loose and relaxed, movable body, but it also has a grounded quality to it. So Zhongjang, central upright. Chunwan, which means soften and relax into stability. So let go of that grip and ground. And then that produces what they call Qingling, which is light, nimble, fluid, agile, this quality of Qingling. So with those 3 things, concepts in mind, let's take about 12, 15 breaths. So in the nose, holding it a little bit, out the mouth. We'll just keep doing that breathing. You're thinking Zhongjang, central upright. Chunwan, soften and relax into stability. And then feel that lightness, that nimbleness, that quality of ease through your body. Just take about 5 or 6 more breath cycles. Tending to your Zhong or central upright. Trying to practice Chun-One or softening and relaxing as your mode of looking for stability, as opposed to holding. It's the opposite of that. It's releasing into stability. So just while we're sitting here, seemingly doing nothing, we can be working on those 3 ideas right out of the gate. Now, our first set of movements. Slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades squeeze back, chest up, chin up, arching the back. And then we do the opposite of that. Slide the hands forward past the kneecaps till the arms straighten and lock. Shoulder blades separate, chest hollows back, and we drop the head and round. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up, arch. Slide the hands forward, hollow the chest back, drop the head. And we'll do it again. Sliding hands back, shoulders, elbows, arch, all 24 vertebrae of the spine, getting a little bit of what's called flex or extension. And then sliding the hands forward, dropping, rounding, all those vertebrae get flexion. Let's do that one more time. And one more time. Find your way back to that neutral, or where we started, that vertical. From that vertical, we do rotation now. So slide left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, turn your chest and shoulders and head to your right, like you're trying to look behind you to the right. And then switch. So we go right hand forward, left hand and elbow back, turning, looking around behind you. And then we switch again, turning, and turning. Just keep doing that at your own pace. And so when we have our Zhong or central upright, we've relaxed into stability, we've released the grip, and now we're practicing the Qing Ling, meaning light and nimble and movable. So we're practicing this ease of movement of making these changes in the body, rotating to one side and then rotating back to the other side. And we're trying to create an unhindered, unblocked, free moving body. That's the general, main goal here with the Taoist view of the body, is that we just want unblocked, ungripped, unhindered, movable, changeable. And then we come back to neutral, or that central position. Hang the arms alongside you. Shift the weight a little bit to your right buttock and droop and side bend. Let the head drop as well. A lot of times we're looking for balance by holding, and we're holding up here and up here. We want to release that and find that we're still in integrity. We're still upright, kind of, even though we're now leaning over here to the left, drooping, softening, relaxing, and then drooping across to the other side. This is lateral flexion and extension. And what you might notice is your middle, which according to the Tai Chi view is belly button, lower back, this section or this level of your body, this is kind of like the middle of a seesaw. It's the central pivot around which all this free movement can happen, and yet we can remain organized. We can remain in integrity because we have this middle. So this can be all free and loose, and yet we have the stability we're looking for, or the central pivot. Now come back to middle. And the other piece to think about with the body is an important area is we have chest, arm bone plugging into a shoulder socket. That shoulder socket is attached to this scapula or shoulder blade. There's a bunch of different layers of musculature on the back and here in the front, but a lot on the back. So this is an area we are often holding and walking around heavy. So we want to unpack that. So first movement, shrug up, all the way up, squish all the musculature here, tighten it like a sponge that you're squishing, and then melt it, relax it, relax it, relax it, all the way down, loose. Again, way up, shrug, squishing, squeezing a little bit, and then soft, 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 all the way, loose. Two more, shrug up, and melt, soft, shrug up, and soft. Now the shoulder blades don't just elevate and depress, they also slide apart and back, and we can add all that together to make these circles. So shoulder blades spread apart, the chest has to hollow when you do that, right? So they spread apart and come forward. Now keep them forward as you lift up. Stay lifted as you bring them back. So now they're squishing together in the back, and then slide them down the back underneath and spread them apart again, and then come up over the top. So it starts to make a sort of circular movement. And what this is doing is just cleaning out places that we could just be gripped and held and glued together. So see if you can get this flow-like quality of circles. The most important point on this exercise is right here as you come down and under and making sure you feel that looseness. Then you go forward and up, over the top, you're cleaning out whatever's stuck in there, and then you make sure to return to loose. Circle, and make sure you get to the loose place, because we're remembering to let go. Chun one, let go, release. So we're not, again, just holding on. Now reverse that. We go back, stay back, come up, stay up, come forward, stay forward as you come down, under, back, up, over the top, and under, back. So there's this term in the Tai Chi view called the dynamic separation. So we're trying to separate all of the parts of our body from each other, but not in the sense that like we're pulling our arm off and taking it over there. We're keeping them connected, but we just don't want our body parts connected by being glued together. We want separate, but dynamically separate. And so we're taking our shoulder blades, we're opening this space, coming over the top, then we're opening this space and closing this space. So they're connected, but they're dynamically separated as well, right? Okay. Now that's enough of this. There's plenty more we do in our Friday class as well in terms of joint mobilization, but that's all we'll do up there for today. Scoot back in your chair. Bring your right knee up and draw the heel in. So this is like a bed spring. You're compressing So coiling up the power in this leg, then push. So you're expressing that power out through the leg, then bring it in, and then set it down. Other leg. Load, push, reload, down. Load, push, load, down. So what we're looking for is the free movement at each of these joints to go all the way to this position, all the way to this other position, all the way back and down. So this freedom of movement through the body, all the way back, down. One more. Load, push, reload, down. Now, dynamic separation of foot at that ankle joint. So point foot, flex foot, point, flex. We want space between where the foot and the ankle and the lower leg meet. Rather than stuck together, we want space there. So there's mobility. Now this movement called inversion, eversion, this little tilt of the foot in, tilt of the foot out. Same idea, we need that mobility or balance. Now circles, in, around, and out. In, around, and out. Reverse the circle, out, around, and in. Switch feet. Start with pointing and flexing. Point, flex. Make sure you get all the way to the end of the range of the motion. So it's sometimes people point, they get stuck here. Try to find the end. Sometimes you get some calf cramps from that point. But then if you flex, that calf cramp will go through. So we want to work out any density in the lower leg, move it through, get it like a river flowing. Then invert, evert, invert, evert. This foot tilting, and then circling one direction, make them thorough circles, and reverse, thorough circle. And down. Scoot forward again on your chair. One more leg range of motion here. So step your feet wider apart than your hip distance. So you have a little extra real estate, a little extra room here. Lift the toes up, keep the heels on the ground. Now that the heels are the pivot point on the ground, turn. So this shape here is different than this, just dropping your knees in. This isn't great for the knees. This, however, turning, internally rotating, feet are turned in, legs turned in. We're closing this groin area. Then lift your toes up, turn on those heels and open. So feel this open space right where we got genital area in the middle and then the groin on either side. It's a very important gait that has to be open and closable. So we got to close and open and close and open so that there's freedom of movement of the leg to do what the leg is built to do, which is rotate internally, rotate externally. Again, a lot of times this area is stuck, glued together, and that makes us awkward in our movement. Now come back to neutral, bring your legs back to hip distance. Now the legs don't move, but the hips fold, sit upright, and then lean a little bit back, all from the hips. Sit upright, fold, sit upright. So notice it's that same groin area that I was just pointing out, the hip joint, that freedom of movement. So it can be the hips that don't move and the legs that move, or it can be the legs that don't move and the hips move. And this is one of the most important joints of the body because this is like the powerhouse. This is where we really get a lot of, if we do it right, we can accomplish a lot of movements and strong applications of the body from here. Now we're sitting upright. To stand up is a combination of everything we just did. So we loosened up this upper body. We arched and rounded so that we have this loose quality through the spinal column. We've got our leg joints able to fold and straighten. And we've got this movement here at the hip joint. So rather than thinking stand up, which is what a lot of people try and do, they push off the chair and try to go straight up. Slide your feet back and just watch me do this. Notice how little power I need to stand up. When I first fold forward and just let the weight come out of the chair. Same thing when sitting down. I fold at this hip joint, sink. I'm folding up all those parts, right? The bent knees, everything's folding. And then I just easily let my body weight go through the chair. So let's do that together. So the feet are back a little bit. Stay loose, stay soft. Remember, Chun-One is letting the weight go down to the earth. So as you fold, think of it like you're pouring your body weight out of the chair down to the earth. Now my butt's no longer on the chair. I haven't tried to stand up yet, but I'm already ready to then go. Now I'm vertical. Let everything stay Ching-Ling, loose, relax. Let the body weight go through you, and your groundedness is through to the ground, rather than holding on to your body, hoping that you won't topple over. Now, to sit down, the first gesture is butt back, head, shoulders, and arms loose in front. The ankles are the middle of our little scale here. So as you sink, the butt is behind the ankles, arms, shoulders, and head are in front. You land your tush on the chair, and then nice and easy back. So let's do that 3 more times. Folding. Standing, and just notice you don't have to use traditional power. We don't have to grab on and force it. We just relax. So that's why this is Tai Chi. This is Tai Chi practice because we're focusing on soft power, soft, supple body, rather than force and effort. So those 2 terms, sung, soft and supple, pliable. That's sung. Li is the other term, which means clumsy, tension-based strength. And so that's what a lot of times we're using when we're efforting to do something, is where it's kind of clumsy. Now, don't sit in your chair, and let's do squats. So it's basically just like sitting, but don't sit. Use this to get your hands down to touch the toes, maybe touch the floor. Notice you could pick something up off the ground if you had to, and then push through the earth and stand back up. And again, we just fold. Let the weight stay down underneath you through your feet. Let everything else be loose, relax. And up, all the way. 2 more. Just fold and sink. And rise. We just want this soft, pliable body that can change shape, that can transform. Looseness allows for that. All right, so now we're standing. You should have your chair to the left of you. Step forward and get in front of that chair. This is for safety here. Use it as much as you need to. Make sure you can see my feet. Okay, so our feet, we have the heels and back, and we have more foot in front of the ankle. So lean forward, right? So use the chair for safety, but try this maybe no hands. Just lean more into your toes. Notice your heels can be empty, and yet you're still grounded because you're relaxing and letting the weight go below you. So you see my body is at a slight angle here. Now, as I shift back, hands on chair for safety, notice when I go into the heels, I'm not leaning back this way. The middle, like I was talking about before, the belly and the lower back, that moves back somewhat. So now the body has kind of a C curve, and my weight is in my heels, and there's no weight in my toes. Like I could pull my toes up off the ground, and yet I'm still grounded, right? So make sure you don't fall backwards with this one, but this is an important one to practice. Now, rock forward again, leaning forward, maybe no hands if you want to challenge yourself, staying in your toes. And then back. I suggest do have a hand touching the chair if you're going into your heels, but try not to grab onto it too firmly. Forward. Backwards. So I do a lot of private work with folks, so I get to study and see different situations. So sometimes people are too much in their front all the time, and they're kind of walking around like this, right? Or there's other times where people are in their heels all the time when they're walking around, and they feel like they're going to fall back all the time. So the importance of this exercise is that it breaks either of those, teaches you, oh, I've got this range within which I'm just standing upright, but I could be in the heels, I could be in the toes. And so this really helps you free up some of that stuck quality of being, okay, here I am walking around. We got to feel free, relaxed, loose, okay? Now, go into your toes, stay in your toes, lift, way, way up. Coming back down, but staying in your toes. Now, rock to those heels, stay in your heels, and pull the toes up off the ground. And then down, rock forward, lift, down, back, lift. So this helps clear out the density of the lower leg and foot, build strength, but a certain kind of strength, that pliable strength, rather than strength in the sense of more brittle, more hard, less movable. Okay. And then finally, to open up this whole back sheath of the body, hands on your chair, heels of the hands on the chair, walk the feet back. And then we do basically a downward dog from yoga. Fold at the hips and get a stretch along the whole back of the legs. Should also be stretching your lower back open. Your arms are straight, so you're getting some shoulder opening here. This is a really important one you can do when you're waiting for your hot cup of, or your the kettle on the stove or something like that. You can use your countertop and just open the back. Now lift the chest, coming out of the stretch for just a moment. So come out of that stretch, your hips come forward a bit, so you're not in it now, and then go back in for one more round. Push the hips back, fold in half. And then the chest comes up. Walk forward. Vertical. Turn and face forward. Step back a little bit so that now your chair is in front of you and to the right. And you can get to it if you need to. But first round, let's try no hands. So it's there if you need it, but try no hands. So now from your middle pivot, this middle section of the body, change your body weight more to your right leg and have less weight in your left. And then change more weight into your left, less into your right. Zhong, central upright, should be able to stay vertical even though you're changing here and then to here. So what I often see when people are somewhat stuck in this section is leaning. It's like there's a fear of changing to one and then changing to the other. And so then that forces this kind of movement where nothing's really changing, and then we walk kind of awkwardly, right? So it's us freeing up this middle pivot to be able to go one full. Now we add this, lift to the tippy toe on this empty foot. Place that foot down, change, one full, one empty. Get to the tippy toe. Jung jung still intact. Down, change, tippy toe. Down, change. Now the important thing here is, remember, Chung Won means relax. So relax down through this leg. Let it be soft enough to kind of bend like a spring. Relax down through this leg. Whereas a lot of times what we're doing is locking the knee. We go over to the leg and then we go lock, or we get stuck in the hip and we tense everything up instead of release. Now, take it another level up. So relax down through your right leg, get to the tippy toe. This is where you might want your hand on the chair. Disconnect the foot from the floor. So you're on one leg, jung jung intact. Place the whole foot down with no body weight. Change. Now your left leg full, get to the tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change. You could keep hand on chair or try no hand, tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change. So we don't need to go walking 20 miles forward over there to work on the fundamentals of walking, of running, of going upstairs. So we're just working on it right where we are. We're making sure we get one full, one empty. As you lift, you see if you can keep your jung jung intact. Can you stay relaxed? Stay relaxed. Let's go level 3 here. Lift all the way up, hand on chair as needed, right? So you're getting this deep hinge at the hip crease, not leaning back at all, right? Keeping that vertical. Place the leg down. Now let the weight go through. This leg can come up. Down. Use the chair for safety. Use it so that you can really clear this range of motion all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. So these fundamentals go with us as we try to now move forward and backwards in space. So weight goes through your left leg. It's my right leg, but your left leg. I'm being your mirror. Have your right foot empty and place the foot in front with the toe up in the air. So like this, right? Not a huge step, just right in front. Now, shift, body weight into your right leg, get to the tippy toe of your left foot, and then shift back. Body weight down through your left leg, get to the tip of the heel. Let me turn sideways so you can see what that looks like. Jung jung. Shift. Shift. Now, an important concept. The primary direction of moving forward and backwards is not forward and backward. It's down. Weight goes down to the earth through the right leg. Down. And I accidentally, not accidentally, but as a byproduct of that, I moved forward in space and I moved backwards in space. But I don't have to lurch forward and lurch backwards in the body. The body just relaxes. We just go forward, backward. Let's go level 2. Lift, lower, shift. Back foot like a flamingo. Lift, touch the toe, shift. The weight's going down through that back leg, so this front leg is empty. Lift, lower, shift. Stay relaxed. The relaxed body is light. Is light. Shift, lift, lift, lower, shift. All right, level 3, hand on the chair as needed for a full lift. Down to the heel, shift. Now this back leg, forward and up, like you're gonna step up onto something, but then reach the foot back, touch the toe. Shift back, bring the knee up, down, shift. The weight going down through the right leg is what allows this freedom. And then the weight going down through the back leg is what allows this freedom. So we always got to be connected to the earth. Great job. Bring the right foot back. We're going to sidestep once, shift, step in. Now we should be close enough to this chair to use this chair for safety. Now, let the weight go through your right leg. Put your left foot in front, heel touching. So we're just doing the same exercise on the other side of the body. So that foot's in front. Primary direction is down. Down through that leg. This foot is empty. Down through the back leg. This foot is empty. Middle pivot is where the magic is happening, where the change is happening. The rest of you is just relaxed, loose, casual. Just casual and easy. We're relaxing so that we can get the support from the earth rather than from our body grabbing on and holding on for dear life. Instead, we're just relaxing, connecting to the ground. Level 2, use the chair as needed. Lift, lower, shift. Like a flamingo, just a little bend to the knee, toe down, shift. So this is a test. It says, are you getting one full, one empty? And then changing that situation so it's full, empty. And then changing again. Level 3, hand on chair as needed, so you can go full lift, heel touch, shift. Once this is full, this is empty, then you can try full lift, reach back, shift. Shift. And so with all this changing that's happening, ideally, this is where the stillness is experienced. Internally, this middle, this central pillar like we had when we were sitting and meditating, that's just along for the ride. That's what it will feel like over time, is that inside here is this floating, stable, relaxed, still place. And then on the outside is where all this changing can happen when you're practicing Tai Chi. And back. Okay. Now we stand in the middle. Wings. Turn palms up. Fold over top. And then settle. We do what's called middle embrace. This moment of letting all the activity through the body settle and return to this middle pivot. It's like taking a little break. And then hands cross. Go back to this first side. The weight goes through your left leg. Put your right foot in front, heel touching. Now, shift into your right leg. Left foot is empty. Step it in front, heel touching. Shift one more time forward. Now we reverse. Shift into your back leg. This front leg empty. Step it behind, touch the toe. Shift back. So this is just casual walking. Shift, wait for the foot to be empty, step it while it is still empty, and then shift. Now this is full, this is empty. Shift into your back leg, wait for this to be empty. Once it's empty, step, then shift. And again, shift, full, empty. Step the empty. Shift, full, empty. Middle pivot is where the magic happens. Level 2, chair for safety as needed. Lift, lower, shift. Now imagine there's something on the ground you have to step over. That's why this has to be empty. Pick it up, step over something, set the heel down, shift. Now like that little flamingo, just bend the knee, put the toe back down. Shift into that right leg. Now your leg in front has to come up a little, bend, reach behind, shift back, lift, lower, shift, step over something, up and over, shift, bend. So this is small obstacle that we realize to safely step over something, we have to have an empty leg, right? So it's by creating this empty leg that we can safely step over, land, and then we change and make this full. So that's level 2. We'll go to level 3 here. Level 3 is just maximum range. Up, down, shift, and then we go, I'll turn sideways so you can see it, heel, knee, foot, down. All the while, Zhong is intact, shift, and then bring this knee forward and up, back, shift. This knee, up, tuck, reach back, find the floor, shift. Up, down, shift, heel, knee, foot, down, shift, up, back. Right? And the hands here, if you don't need them here, you can place them here because it just keeps us remembering, oh yeah, here's the middle, right over the navel. Central line, full empty, full empty. And switch sides, step sideways, shift, step in, should be close enough to touch. Now set up, level 1, casual walking. So your left foot is in front and you just shift. Once this is full, this is now empty. And then shift. Full empty. Got your middle pivot, shift, step, shift. Shift, step while it's empty, shift. Again. Shift, step, shift. Casual, easy, moving forward by not thinking forward or backward, but just thinking down to the earth. As long as you have that good relationship to the earth, you're getting that support and everything else can be loose. Let's go level 2. So chair as needed. Lift, lower, shift. Now there's something on the ground you got to step over. So this has to be empty. This has to be full, so this can be. Then full. So this is empty. And then full. So this is empty. Full. And full. And full. And this we do a little flamingo just to test it. Pick it up, put it down. Relaxed, relaxed. Rather than up here with tension, loose, soft, lift, lower. So there's like a level just below how we're normally using our bodies to get around. We're sort of suspending ourselves as we release. Let's go to level 3 now. Lift, lower, shift, and then we go heel, knee, foot, down, shift, knee, toes. But this level just below, it's like right under our nose, this support that we actually can utilize, this soft, hydraulic, liquid stability. And what's tough about it, but what is really fascinating about the Taoist practices, is you have to subtract, you have to dissolve. It's addition by subtraction, by releasing. That's what makes it sustainable, because it's not something you're adding on. It's something you're letting go of, freeing yourself from, so that you're like, oh, it's easy. Last one. Okay, and back. Now, just stay as you are. I'm just adjusting my space here. So now, ideally, you set yourself up so you still have chair and chair. Move to the left side of your space. Turn and face across. So now you have a pretty big runway all the way down, and you got your chairs there for you on your left, should you need them. Now let's do level 1 walking all the way across. So we get maybe 5 or 6 steps, something like that. So empty a foot, place it in front. Shift. Change full empty. Once the other foot is empty, step it in front, keeping it empty, and then shift. Once that other foot is empty, shift. 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 As casual and easy as possible. Once you get to the front end of your runway, be very careful going backwards, but it's the exact same skill of 1 full, 1 empty, step the empty. Shift, change, 1 full, 1 empty, step the empty. 1 full, 1 empty, step. Full empty, step. Full empty, step. Again, shift, shift. Eventually, you just kind of cruise. Cruise forward, cruise backwards, remembering that down is the key. And either another level 1, or if you want to try level 2, each step is stepping over something. Stepping over something. And what I call premature stepping, that's what gets people in trouble, is we're going from 100, 0. A lot of times people only get to about 50% in this leg before they yank the foot up and try to step it, versus actually achieve now 100, 0, and then now it's safe to step. And then 100, 0, now it's safe to step. So work on not premature stepping. So wait long enough, then step. Wait long enough, make that proper change, step. Make the proper change, step. Change, step. And all the while, this middle is balanced. Now, turn and face forward. Put the weight through your left leg. Right foot out, in. I'm going to face you guys now. So your weight is in your left leg, right leg out and in. The most important part here is that what I'm not doing is this. Right? You see the clumsiness of that versus the gracefulness of this. What's different is 100, 0. And it's staying at a 0, and it's that 0 thing that allows me to be swift, to move fast, right? Now, step out, keep the foot there, change. 100, 0, change back. So the feet are staying where they are, and I'm finding this freedom of movement inside here, in the hips, in the relationship of the leg joints, where here, this knee is sort of bending a little, this one is straightening, the leg is elongating, and then that switching, this one is gently compressing like a spring, this one is having to lengthen a little bit. So this freedom of movement from your middle, empty, full, empty, full. Now the next time you get your right leg full, left leg empty, in, out, in, out. And again, stillness found because 100, not 60, 40, right? 100, 0. And this 0 stays a 0. Whether I'm stepping forward, backwards, sideways, cross, right? Kicking somebody, right? It's the 0-ness here that gives it its power, its freedom. And finally, bring left foot in, feet touching. This is a very unstable position, too close together. A lot of times people are standing really wide because it gives them a feeling of stability. So bring those feet together, and now see if you can find the way through. 100, 0. Change. 100, 0. This really helps us find this middle pivot of the low back, the belly, and the hips. We have no real room to move left and right, so we have to find this mechanism here, this changing mechanism to go 100, 0, 100, 0, keep the vertical. Final time, go through your left leg, step, right? Remember, it's that empty step. Shift. Once the left foot is empty, float it in. Change, step out. So now we're side walking this way. We're moving across the room, sideways. As you get to the end of the runway, go back the other way. The other foot steps out, shift. The other foot steps in, shift. Out, shift. In, shift. Out, shift. Side walking. This is training our central pivot. So limit any leaning and swinging of the upper pillar to keep that pillar floating along, moving across the room. Now, to finish, I want us to do our sort of level 1 advanced Tai Chi movement. Now, if you're coming to the Friday class, you will know this one, the bear washing paws in the stream. So this is like the level 1 Tai Chi practice that we do on that day. So let's first practice that, and then we'll add the stepping to it, okay? So now stand here with your feet about hip distance. Remember, we have this shift this way and shift that way, leg to leg. That's lateral. Now, from this middle pivot, remember, it can also turn and turn from our middle pivot. So your hands are your bear paws. They're dipped into the water. Shift to your left leg. Turn a little bit from that middle pivot and sweep your bear paws across over here. Now, turn your hands both so they face back this way. So both palms are facing to your right. Your weight is here. Your body is turned. So you're kind of like a wind-up toy. You've wound up here. Now, shift to your right leg. Turn from your middle pivot and then brush through. Brush those bare paws through. Turn your hands so they face the other way. Shift leg, turn from middle pivot, brush knee, sweep the leg. Turn your hands, shift to your right leg, turn from your middle pivot, and then that sends those loose floating hands through. Turn the hands. Shift leg, turn from middle pivot, brush knee, sweep leg. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Eventually, this just feels like as natural as a river flowing, just. And this is so healthy for the body in so many ways. Maybe you feel it, maybe you don't at the moment, but this loosening up of all, remember that dynamic separation idea that I mentioned? We're allowing for this loosening up of the relationships of every joint, every layer of tissue. Now let's do this with the side step. So you got your right foot out, shift, turn, brush, and sweep. Once you're over here, keep your hands over here, bring the foot in. Now we shift into this left leg with the feet together, shift or drop through this leg, turn, brush, sweep. Step out. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Step in. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. So you should end up advancing across the room to your right. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stepping in. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stepping out. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stepping in. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stepping out. And when you get to the end of your runway, just come back the other way. Stepping out with an empty foot. Shift, turn, brush, knee, sweep, leg. Step the right foot in. Shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stepping out. So this is advanced Tai Chi. It's the level 1A, right? 101, because it's got all the elements of an advanced movement, but they're all as simple as they can be, more or less. You've got the change of the leg, the turn of the waist, and the allowing of the arms and hands through. We've got a step, a shift, a turn, a brush, a sweep. Step in, shift, turn, brush, sweep. And this can over time become the bear swirls the stream as this hand is floating out and around. Out and around. Let's go there and back one more time to finish. Those of you that are here on the Friday class, you know the whole bear progression of the swat the fish, right? The reaching up. So eventually you just kind of let that flow. Step. Move. Right? This freedom of movement and organize around the middle. So our middle is this really stable kind of, you could say still, but not in the way we think of stillness where it's just like not moving. It's actually freedom of movement. This whole body, the arms can reach, they can sweep up, they can come down, they can come across. The legs can go empty, full, they can step. This body can turn and turn as we come all the way across. And so we get this, right? You may know that symbol, the Tai Chi symbol of yin and yang, changing and morphing, this freedom of change organized around middle. And so that's kind of the idea of this healthy body is flowing, changing, turning, freedom of movement, but yet it's not sloppy. It's not just like sloppily throwing the body around. It's organized. There's something beautiful about that combination of internal organization and precision and stillness with total freedom. So that's the idea of what we're working our bodies towards. So today's class was the sort of lower half. Friday's class is a lot of the upper half combinations and things like that, with the eventuality of blending those together. So Hopefully all that makes sense. Now we finish our practice with hands together, rub. Rub the back of one hand, rub the palms, rub the back of the other, palms. Now the very important places, genital area in the middle, the groin crease on either side. So take these palms and run right along that sort of sensitive inguinal crease, all the way up to this point here, all the way down to there. So we want this space flowing, open. Then a very important place is top of the thigh, this bundle here, the hip flexor. So we go out and around, out and around. So that first one is a V shape. Second one is around in front of the thigh. Then we get around back here, tailbone. So kind of a tight V right in that space, clearing up any congestion. And then up onto these muscles right along this lumbar spine as best you can, loosening those up. And then clear the yang channels. Remember our squat, your butt goes back. Sit the butt, sweep down the outside of the legs around to the inside, stand back up, come up the inside of the legs, past the groin area to the middle point, the navel. And let's do that again. The groin crease, or the quad, as they call it, the hip flexors, the sacrum and tail, up onto the lumbar, and then the outer or yang channels, around to the inner or yin channel, up to the middle point, the middle pivot. One more time. Quad, hip flexors, sacrum and tail, lumbar, and sweep, sweep. And then just as the final reset, yang channels, turn, yin channels. Repeat on same arm. Up, turn, switch. And wings, roll, fold over top, this closing, settling down to the belly, sealing the practice. 1, 2, just 5 breaths here. See if you can release grip, release any locked joints. That what I was talking about, that there's a support network, a liquid support network just underneath our tension. So that's a lot of what we're training is dissolving where we're holding. And it's a little bit scary at first to dissolve it, but then eventually you go, oh, there's a hammock of support, a network of support that I can rely on if I release all that tension. So that's, again, just some of what we're working on. All righty, thank you, everybody. The little Taoist bow to close. Grab one thumb, fold that open hand over. Creates like a little yin-yang looking symbol. So that's that harmonization, yin and yang. Thank you. Great job. So have a seat in your chair. We're a little bit over time, so if you have somewhere you got to be, you can just kind of wave and say bye-bye. If you have any questions, I can talk for maybe 2 minutes. Anything? See you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any question about that? Hopefully that was self-explanatory or explanatory, but yeah.
It was. You teach your class on Monday and Fridays, is that correct?
That's right.